Hello, comic book guys and gals, and welcome to Comic Mag Musings Live. This fella's your host, Bill Miller. All right, it's been a while since I've done a live video. It's been over a year since I went live. I've been live on other channels, of course, but it has been a year since doing a live video. So I wanted to do this as a show of support for ALEXBIGBLUE as he's having his 500th subscriber contest. Darren, how are you, sir? Good to see you. And so I'm excited to take part in the contest and support him. So I'll go through the contest and then participate. And then at the end, I'll show a couple of comic books that I've gotten as gifts over the last few months that I haven't shown in any other videos or venue or anything like that. Hey, Russ, how are you? Good to see you. But before I did that, I did want to play a very special song for everyone. And it goes. Oh, rats. It didn't come through. Well, can anyone hear me? How about that? Anyone? Anyone? All right, well, we'll see if anyone can actually hear me or if it's just not what I was playing. All right, so you can hear me. So let's try this again. Maybe we need to do like a share. Let's see. It's been a while since I done worked this. Oh, wow. I don't think we're going to get that. All right, so let's go to the contest. All right, so this is ALEXBIGBLUE's 500 subscriber contest. He's giving away a selection of comic books. It is for people that are 18 years or older. US only. If you're international, you can participate and prize tag someone who is domestic. I am prize tagging Big O, one of my cover slingers compatriots, and his IG handle, as the kids call them, is in the description, as is the YouTube link for ALEXBIGBLUE. I know you did, Darren. You just barely made that cut. It's you young rascals that keep the lifeblood pumping in this comic book community of ours. I also did want to do a couple of YouTube shout outs, if you will, and even if you won't. And I will do those after the content. So let's go ahead and get started. What Alex wants you to do is create a video with at least 5 sets of Marvel/DC characters that you would choose to swap from one universe to another for a period of 5 years. All right, so here are the 5 that I picked. I picked Flash and Quicksilver. So I have pictures. If I can figure out, gosh darn it, how to actually show them. Then we'll be all right. All right. See if we can do that. So there we go. Flash. And we have Quicksilver. All right. So Flash obviously is very powerful. He's fast, versatile. He has the abilities originating from the Speed Force. He's like a universal energy. He clearly has an advantage over Quicksilver, right? He can phase. He can run fast beyond the speed of light. He can travel in time. And Quicksilver is a mutant. So his abilities are limited to his physical capabilities. He can run at the speed of sound and create cyclones, but there really isn't much comparison between the two as far as their inherent abilities are concerned. Hey, Alex, good to see you. Absolutely. You just made what? You just made it? Excellent. I'll have to watch that playlist. All right. So yes, Alex, my first 2 that I'm swapping are Quicksilver and Flash. I wonder if Flash would have the same prominence in the Marvel Universe. And I wonder if Quicksilver could spread his wings, if you will, without having his sister around. She seems to command more of the attention and steals a bit of his thunder. So I would swap those 2. All right, the second ones that I will swap are these 2. The Fantastic Four and the Challengers of the Unknown. So I am picking ones that are similar in some respects, but not in others, right? So the Fantastic Four, obviously, they're Marvel's first family. Sue Storm, later Sue Richards, Reed Richards, Johnny Storm, Ben Grimm, The Thing, The Invisible Woman, Mr. Fantastic, and the Human Torch. They gain their powers after being exposed to cosmic rays, and they're very cosmic in a lot of their adventures. Plus, a lot of it is science-based with the intellect of Reed Richards. Challengers of the Unknown, right? So that's a lot of people would say that was Jack Kirby's precursor to Fantastic Four. Yeah, I bet she can. I bet she can, Darren, you smart guy. They had more skilled professionals, right? You had the pilot Ace Morgan, Mark Haley, who was a scuba diver expert. I think he was a scientist as well. You had Red Ryan, who was the adventurer. Rocky Davis, who was an athlete. But they didn't have powers. They were just very good at what they did, with the exception of Rocky Davis, right? He took an experimental flight and it was bombarded by rays. And when he came back, he didn't even know who he was, but he had some superpowers, like the ability to expand to giant size, ability to generate flames and lightning bolts. He could become invisible. So certainly some similarities there. And were they swapped? Would Challenges of the Unknown stay relatively obscure, or would they grow in popularity? Would they be able to generate the types of stories that would help them catch on like a zeitgeist as the Fantastic Four have? And would the Fantastic Four still be as popular as they are now were they in DC? So those are that's my second swap. All right, and for my third swap, let's go with this guy. I think you might know him. Old Batsy, as the kids call him. And we are going to swap him with, you guessed it, Moon Knight. Right? Obviously, kind of playing along that theme with characters that have some similarities, right? And Batman and Moon Knight, they're both billionaires. They both use their money to fight crime, to develop technological gadgets. They're both formidable fighters. Batman's probably a little bit better of a fighter, but they're both great fighters. They both used gadgets and weapons in fighting. They're both stealthy. They're both vigilantes. Now they're both kind of in the shadows is where they operate. They plan very well to take down their criminal enemies. They're both very intelligent. They're good at strategy. They're good at developing gadgets, inventing gadgets, and they're both grounded, right? They're both, for the most part, non-super powered superheroes, with some debate about Moon Knight, whether or not Khonshu does add some element of power to him. I think that could be debatable. So would Batman still be as popular? I mean, he's clearly the most popular character in DC. Would he maintain that popularity if he was to move over to Marvel and be able to interact with Marvel's universe? And would Moon Knight sort of emerge in popularity if he moved over to DC and started interacting with some of the characters over there? It'd be interesting to see. All right, so that's my third grouping. My fourth would be these two rascals. We have this one. That is, of course, Man-Thing. And you better know who he's going to be swapped with. Of course, it would be Swamp Thing. So, again, two similar characters, right? Man-Thing actually came out first. A lot of people don't know that because Swamp Thing is more popular. Man-Thing debuted in May of 1971. Swamp Thing came out in July of 1971. But they're both swamp creatures. And actually, there was a third that came out in September of 1971 called The Heap by Skywald. But none of them were the first swamp creatures. There was the original Heap from Hillman Periodicals, who debuted in Air Fighters Comics number 3 in 1942. And so they're all, I guess you could say, knockoffs of that original heap. Biggie Shack, how are you? Good to see you. But it would be interesting to see them swap places. Swamp Thing is certainly more powerful, just from a mental aspect alone, right? Man-Thing has almost no thought capability. He operates purely on emotion, particularly calmness and fear, right? Those two paralyzing, those two polarizing ones. But it would be interesting to see those two switch universes and see them interact with the others to see if they maintain the status quo of their popularity relative to one another. All right. And for my last swap, my fifth one, it will be this fella. And this fella. So it'll be Thanos and Darkseid. And I could have gone, different ways with that. Could have gone with Galactus, but there are different ways that they have different similarities and different differences. But I decided to go with these two. Thanos is ruthless. He's a demonic alien from Titan. He wants control and power, very much like Darkseid, right? They're both powerful cosmic beings with a whole bunch of followers. They're ambitious, and they're a threat to the entire universe. Now, Darkseid's powers are more because of his new god status. And Thanos' power usually comes from technology like the Infinity Gauntlet or artifacts, right? And he's a little bit more personal, I think, of a villain than Darkseid, who's more abstract, sort of like Galactus in his villainy. Dupe. You mean Doom? So it would be interesting to see the two, because Thanos is obviously very popular, particularly because of Avengers, but he interacts with so many different characters in Marvel. And it'd be interesting to see if that could extend to DC as well. And Darkseid, I think, is a great character, but he's been so Superman-centric that I think they've lost some opportunity there along the ways and over the years. So that would be my last swapping or pairing, would be those two. Dupe from Ecstatic. Okay. That's an interesting one, Darren. All right, those are my 5 that I would swap. That I think would be, if nothing else, it'd be interesting to see how they interacted with the other characters in the universes of the other comic book publisher. All right, now we're going to see if we can do this for you guys, because it's by great demand. So let's see if we can do it. Now you let me know if you can hear this at all.
Every panel paints a story so true. Comic mag musings, I'm lost in you.
You guys hear that?
Turning every corner, finding something new.
It's
Adventures
like a
calling
silver bullet.
shades
It's
of red and blue.
to the top of the chart.
Whispers of the past and futures yet to be. all come alive
Yeah,
in this
that's right.
fantasy.
It only took a couple of comics
Ink and
to
paper
convince
tell the
Jackson
tale
to,
so
after a couple
grand. Worlds
shots of whiskey, to sing
collide right here in my hand. Comic mag musings take me far away to a land of wonder where I long to stay. Where every panel paints a story so true. Comic mag musings, I'm lost in you. Comic mag musings take me far away to a land of wonder where I long to stay. Every panel paints a story so true.
Feel free to grab a
Comic mag musings, I'm lost in you.
All right. Coming in at 45 to you. All right, Darren? All right, I think we're done.
Flipping.
So, yes, that was fun. Now I got to figure out how to get that stupid thing off of there. There. All right. As I promised, I did receive a couple of books over the last few months as gifts mainly from Mrs. Musings. I thought I'd show those as I hadn't previously shown them. So here is one. We have Hero for Hire, issue number 5. Don't mess with Black Mariah. And we do collect Luke Cage. This is Hero for Hire number 5, Marvel Comics, January of 1973. Steve Englehart story, George Tuscan, Billy Graham art, Billy Graham cover. First appearance of Black Mariah, Mariah Dillard. This is a CGC 9.6 with white pages. So excited to have that one. It gets us one more closer to completing that series. And we also have War is Hell, issue number 2. So this is one that I'd worked on 10, 15 years ago and just stopped. But this one's pretty cool. This is War is Hell number 2, Marvel Comics, March of 1973. This is off-white to white pages, an old school CGC 9.4 label. And it says, "You see, my fellow Nazis, this proves we are truly the master race. The Americans have fled for their lives, every last one of them. Ah, but have they all? Or might there be one hiding right there?" On the back, we've got the LaSalle Extension University advertisement. All right. We got 2 more. Yes, it doesn't always work. It pacifies me like a binky for a little while, but then I start with tantrums all over again. All right, we have War is Hell number 9. One of my favorite covers in this run. So excited to have that one. This is War is Hell number 9, Marvel Comics, October of 1974. Tony Isabella and Chris Claremont story, Dick Ayers and Frank Springer art, Gil Kane and Ernie Chan cover. And this is a CGC 9.4 with off-white to white pages. And it says, introducing a startling new series of the supernatural, and the hero is Death. So at this point, Death starts helping to narrate the stories, or at least some of the stories inside. And on the back, prizes, cash, you name it. Cash, we all know what that is. But what prizes could you have gotten? Well, I'm glad you asked. You could have gotten a ball radio. How cool is that? Nothing wrong with a ball radio. A telescope. A 4-player croquet set. If you have 3 friends that you no longer want to be your friends, invite them over to play croquet. What else? Ooh, a deluxe 2-band radio. That's pretty sweet. A push-button cassette recorder. Fantastic. A day and date wristwatch. That's pretty fancy. And a rocket kit. That would be pretty cool. A professional style hair dryer. That's something that I bet Darren would like. And what else? Ooh, a Le Mans slot car set. So just some of the prizes you could get. That's right, Darren. I'd be in big trouble. Were you to choose prizes instead of cash? And who would want cash? I would want all the prizes. All right. And last one. And this is issue number 2 of Tomb of Dracula. So this is Tomb of Dracula number 2, Marvel Comics, May of 1972. Jerry Conway story, Gene Colan and Vince Colletta art, John Severin cover. This is a 9.2 with off-white to white pages. Who stole my coffin? That's what I want to know. And if you can sling those fast-selling Merkin seeds, by gosh, by golly, you can make more money or get prizes on the back. Now, I can't go through that no matter how much Darren asked me to. I can do another one. I'll be on the couch for a week and a half if I did that. All right, so that's the last one. Those are the comics that I've gotten over the last couple months here and there. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your evening and a great next week. And always remember, we're taking over the world one comic book at a time. Congratulations, Alex.